There's a world of darkness out there, beyond time or space. A world filled with evil that is undeniably real. Real.
Good morning. It is 8:56 a.m. on the next episode of my YouTube channel. The name for now is Hidden Insights, but that is subject to change because who knows what may come up as a result of using that name. But today, instead of talking about some licensed property made by someone else, which is always fun, I'm going to talk about myself because I skipped that whole about me section. I don't like, writing that down in text or telling anyone about myself really, but whatever. Gotta tell people something, I guess, right? But anyways, I have to write all this down. It's a lot to okay, the first thing is that, I can't really say a lot about myself or my life or, my past work experiences or any of that because, I could get sued. It's like, oh yeah, just talk all about these people you do in the past and they come back and sue you or some shit, but I'll hear the short version. Let's see. Where to begin? One thing, if it looks like I'm always squinting all the time, it's because I spend a lot of my time out in the sun, working in hard labor and stuff. I look pale, but you spend 2 months out of the sun, that tan will go away. But yeah, I call this California syndrome. You can kind of tell my brain has been fried from sunlight, exposure to sunlight. And it's permanent. It will always be the rest of your life like that dude that's like, hey, whoa, what's up, man? Surf's up, cowabunga. But it's from working in the sun, not surfing and hanging out on the beach. That's the sad part. The other thing is that the reason that I would work like that in the sun instead of getting, a corporate job is not because of drug tests necessarily. Any idiot can just go a month and pass a drug test and then just whatever, start doing their drugs right again when they get the job. But my issue would be okay, you're supposed to have a relationship with your boss and your employer and stuff, but dude, how are you gonna do that if the first thing you do is start off with them hey, I want a cup of your piss? It's what? You're not a doctor. You run a retail store. What do you need that for? I need your piss. I need to know that you're clean by your piss. It's that's disgusting. I'm not working here. You're sick. But whatever. There's different ways of looking at that. But anyways. Another thing is that I'm not actually a teenager of 1,000 years old. And that's kind of what you could tell by the way I talk. Whatever. But yeah, because dumb kids, have a fully formed character and personality, right? Don't say how old I am, but just say I'm pushing 40. Something like that. My work skills. A lot of them. I was actually working with these Russian guys for several years and found out that all those stereotypes are actually true. Those guys work really hard. But I'm a professional driver. Worked as shipping and receiving in a lot of warehouses and stuff. I worked on construction crews. I can't talk a lot about that because I could get sued. So just leave it at that. My life makes no sense. That's another thing. It's you have this, everyone goes through the same thing. You go graduate school and then this next part with jobs and all this, but it's after so many years, people are just saying the same damn things. And it's guys, I'm 30 something. It's in rural America, they always have this attitude about you can find a job, any job, blah blah blah. But it's like, man, there's only been the same three towns in this, or three stores in this town since the '80s. It's like, did some factory open up, or are they building like tires down the street now? They need like 100 workers to fill the labor demand. You know, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Whatever, that's another story. You can vote, but if those problems aren't changing, it's like, I'm not sure your vote's really like doing all right. But what do I know? Uh, I don't want to get into political stuff. It's a waste of time. Like, rich people care how you vote, you know, whatever. I have no real friends or family other than my mom, and the reason why I also can't talk about because I could get sued, but my mom is still there and I love my mom. Oh yeah, my cat left me for another family and that was also kind of lame. Fucking bitch. Uh, I'm like, uh, grew up on an old-timey plantation in the South, you know, you got this really rough-looking slave quarter and then you got the big nice house around you, so you can feel like you're on equal footing with everyone else. And, Southern politics. What else? Oh yes, this place. Florida. It's like Jamaica, but with more guns per capita. But other than that, it's actually a nice place. Just, you know, you can pack some heat whenever you visit. That's recommended. Also, the show is more insightful than it seems. Okay. Beneath all of that, because that's all a bunch of depressing shit, I was, like, always, like, an artistic person. Like, I started out drawing and sketching. Like, I was into drawing comic books and stuff instead of paying attention in school. And it's like, I don't care about that stuff. And then from that, I started learning about music, and all the aspects involved with programming a video game. Like 20 years ago, it just never went anywhere. I had to get a job and labor and fried my fucking brain. So maybe I can still do that stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. But lately I was learning about these interesting things that people do in America, this country I've lived in my whole life, but then it's just like I woke up one day and it's like, man, people are really obsessed with race car driving. They really love race horses, you know. Spend all day learning to be an expert NASCAR racer or Grand Prix racer, you know, just racing all the time, burning that gasoline, racing. I, I can't do it. Political talk is a waste of time, as I've just said. Another thing about me, believe it or not, people have been like making fun of me and insulting me my whole life. So, if it does get to me, you're just acting like one of my dumbass brothers or some bully from school or some shit. But congratulations, you're an asshole. Beyond that, what else is there to say? Oh. It teaches you about the basics of coding. First thing, we start with algebra or like different commands. I think algebra, that's a good start. So when you have math problems, the way that algebra works, it's like 10 times x equals blank. And you have to figure out what that hidden variable is. It's like in life, you run into a lot of problems and you don't know what's causing it, so you have to, you know, find that hidden equation, the variable that's not being factored into the equation somehow or another. But See, in coding, you have numerical and literal variables. A literal variable is like in quotations and is like a sentence or block of text, which is known commonly as a string. And a numerical variable is just a number value that can be added, subtracted, multiplied, divided, and so forth. So, in coding, all that stuff that you ignored in math class actually is incredibly useful. It's just, even the most basic code can be like building a small engine, so uh, be careful. And my personal opinion when you write codes and scripts and stuff is to keep it like clean and simple. Don't write like 5 pages of code if you could make like, one command function or program line or just one simple block of text to code. Do the same thing. The reason for this is because it will overload the RAM buffer slowly, and like unless you add separate commands in there to like refresh that cache and RAM buffer, it'll cause the computer to just get run slower and slower and slower until it freezes and needs to be restarted. Or you could just learn how to fucking code and not leave something that's like, oh yeah, this adds +1. I don't need it like all the time, but that just gets discarded, right? Like, no, it doesn't. Like, hey, why is my computer running slow? Someone doesn't know how to code. That's right. That explains it.
I remember all of you from when I was nothing. Pruneface, you tossed a firebomb in my car one night. Give me a lot of trouble, but I forgive you. Mocha, you put 3 slugs into me, but I lived. I forgive you, too. I owe everybody at this table a little something, but I forgive all of you. Why? Because I put the past in the past. However, a boss who cannot see the future becomes a liability to everyone concerned.
What are you, a fortune teller? What do you mean, the future?
I think I've almost reached 15 minutes on this timer. I try not to go over that because, me personally, I get bored listening to people talk for that long. It's like, this is also a weird concept to me because I, like, grew up in the 90s or something, and, like, it's not unusual for people to talk and do this sort of thing, but normally it would be like a news thing or like doing an interview, like there's supposed to be another person there talking to you, but times change, I guess. Nothing makes sense anymore, as I'd already said. Other things about me, I might seem a little out of my mind lately, that's true, but the thing is, I just went like 2 years, almost 3 years, where like I woke up at 3 a.m. every night and couldn't sleep, and can't really tell you why. It's just one of those things you have to live with. But life goes on, or at least it's supposed to. My last job was driving. If you ever had work done on your house before, and these construction crews show up, that would be a guy dropping off materials and things like that. That was my last job. I've also worked on the construction crews, but like, I don't want to talk about that. I think it's silly. Because, believe it or not, everything relating to your jobs and work is confidential. And like an employer starts trying to give you the 3rd degree and hammer you about information. It's like, that's none of your business, dude. We could both get sued for that. Realize, right? I've also worked for a bunch of companies that went under and failed. That's another thing. They were, crappy employers. I don't know. About certain business practices in the United States because they got rid of slavery here and that. But see, right after slavery, like the second that was done, they started with this thing called forced integration, where it started out with black people, but they do that to everybody these days. It's like, well, you gotta work. I mean, we used to not even pay you, but you gotta work. And it's like, it never ends because there's people are obsessed with, this not working, but getting paid. And it all begins with being an asshole to you. And it's like, I can't do it anymore. It's like I've done it for too long. And it would just make people feel stupid. So like, get the fuck off my job! Fuck this guy! Don't ever bring anyone like this to me again! It's so bad at this point, like, it'll be like that any job I go to. So I like to just bring up certain things like, the drug test thing. It's like 2 or 3 years down the line, man, it's like you're talking to your boss at a picnic, 10 years later, and you got your wife and kids that you afforded through that job and stuff, and like, yes, you remember that time you asked for a cup of my piss? It's like, oh yeah, good times. It's like, that never happens. If they do that, they're gonna fire you in like a year or two. It's like, there's all these little things about like that. It's like, it never ends. But that's just my experience. There's plenty of people that it went totally different with for like whatever reason. But I wish you the best in life. I really do. Anyways, that's all for now. Stay safe out there, and until next time, goodbye.